than YouTube and Pinterest, most things you post on social media are here today, gone tomorrow. And you can put hours into content that literally dies on the vine. Well, I say literally, but Vine's dead. Okay. So you can put hours into content that dies immediately, but LinkedIn is doing something to change that. And today we'll get into how to leverage this change to make your reach stronger. Welcome to the Creating Opportunities podcast. This is the place for smart, ambitious professionals to learn how to build authentic relationships to create success in all areas of their lives. Why? Because people make life better. They're messy, but they also make life better. Now, I am your host, Cassandra. I am a trainer, a speaker on workplace connections and LinkedIn, an iced coffee lover. It's very important that you know that about me. And I am here to help you make deeper connections. So let's talk about how this LinkedIn change is going to help. In a recent interview with Entrepreneur, both an article and a video, LinkedIn's editor-in-chief, Dan Roth, said that there's a new change that they're working on LinkedIn. And that is that LinkedIn is trying to start giving valuable suggested posts to the right user at the right time. Okay, so he shared how normally posts are optimized by the timeliness of the poster, and mainly timely meaning how new the post is. But as they state in the article, not everyone needs the same information at the same time. So LinkedIn is now trying to be a content matchmaker, that was their phrase, by figuring out what a user is interested in and then feeding them more of that content at the time where it's appropriate, and no longer caring whether it's new or old content to send to them. Now, some social media does this, but most are really still just going off of what's relevant and trending in the moment, except I would equate this change to being the closest to YouTube's suggested, right? If you watch a video of mine on how to introduce yourself, you're probably going to get suggested videos on other content on how to introduce yourself or how to meet new people, right? It's figuring out this is an area they're interested in, these are the other areas they'll want to watch next. And sometimes those videos are years old, but they don't care. They just know, oh, this is the kind of content you're interested in. So LinkedIn is taking a little cue from YouTube. Okay, but what does this mean for you? Well, what I hear from this is you should be definitely creating evergreen content for LinkedIn. A lot of people spend time on LinkedIn just creating content around promoting things, promoting their business, promoting their latest product, or content that's around a specific trend or maybe very generic how-to content. But this is saying create content that I can serve up to someone tomorrow or a year from now. So start thinking about your customer journey and what is some of that key content, that evergreen content that they need to know along the way. What is step one that they need to know? Make content about it. But just because you're trying to create content that LinkedIn can serve up tomorrow or 3 months from now or a year from now doesn't mean it should be dry. Sometimes evergreen content, that sort of informational content that you could need at any time, sometimes people make that a little dry. You still want to make it entertaining because I have a hunch that in order for it to be content that they kind of bookmark as something to serve up to people down the road, it probably needed to circulate pretty well among first posting. And that means that when you post it the first time, it's got to be entertaining. Now, where do you start to start creating this content? Well, I would start by thinking about what are the questions your customers ask along their customer journey. Figure out what those questions are and start creating content to answer those questions. We don't have to get crazy, but try and create a list of the 10 evergreen posts you could make. So for example, for a Dallas realtor, one of those might be the top 10 reasons you should move to Dallas, Texas, right? Those reasons probably don't have to change that much for the next couple of years. So write them down. Or if you're a business coach, maybe you need to make a piece of content on why someone should hire a business coach. And then a second piece of content on when someone should hire a business coach. That can then be offered up to people as soon as they start looking for business coaches. And according to the article, useful posts that reach hyper-targeted audiences actually do really well. So niche on down. One thing I found particularly interesting in the article is that the LinkedIn engineer interviewed for it said that he's spending about 75% of his time focused on this project of creating this suggested content at the right time, and that it's in its very early days. So there's a couple of things I think we can take from that. Number one, this project is not a flash in the pan. This is something that LinkedIn really wants to make a priority and a reality for the future, that it gets really good at suggesting all of us the right content at the right time. Which means number 2, since it's in its early days, get in now on the ground floor so that LinkedIn can be suggesting your content as much as possible to as many people as possible. One other thing to note, since it is in its early days, I would test different styles of the same evergreen content. So that listicle text post, that can become a carousel. And that post you made on why someone should start a side hustle can also be a different post where you start by sharing your story of why you started a side hustle and why you now think everyone should start a side hustle. Why can't I say side hustle, y'all? Wow. Bottom line, try different things. So I'm gonna put some time and effort into creating more of this evergreen content myself. I hope that all my content is helpful, but I really wanna focus on figuring out what kind of content could be shown to new people based off their interest years from now. In fact, y'all, that's why I chose YouTube as my platform, because we all want efficiency in our work and we want bang for our buck in terms of time. And so on YouTube, I knew, hey, if I make a video, it can be found in search for years to come. So to know that LinkedIn is saying, hey, you make a post and we might suggest it to people for months and years to come based off topic instead of just timeliness of the moment, that's huge. And I really do think if you focus on that, this is going to increase your reach. If you make the type of content that LinkedIn wants to start suggesting, not just tomorrow or not just over virality, but down the road because it was quality, helpful content, you're going to get massive reach. It just might not be tomorrow, but it's going to be increased reach. Now, if you need help on what kinds of content to be creating on LinkedIn in general, you're like, I know I should post there, but I have no idea what to post. I have a free list for you. You can get the link to it in the description box below or in the show notes. It's 20 ideas of things you can post on LinkedIn. Go check that out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.